Hunchot first. Alright, welcome to Cocktails and Cosplay. May the 4th be with you. Special celebratory episode. I'm here, I'm your host, Taylor Smurl, wearing my Han Solo cosplay today. Although it's, you've got like the belt and everything from the waist down, but from the waist up it's just kind of a guy with a shirt and a vest. That's fine. It's fine. So, of course, with most of these videos, I start off with explaining the property that I'm making drinks for, giving you a little synopsis or a rundown, and that's not really possible with Star Wars, right? It's massive. You've got the original trilogy, you've got the prequels, you've got the new movies, there are cartoons, there's the EU, there's specials and TV shows. It's a huge universe. If you are unfamiliar with Star Wars, such to the point that you need me to explain it to you, you should just check out some Star Wars, I guess. Also, welcome to Earth. If you haven't seen Star Wars, it's fine. No judgment. Alien. I have loved Star Wars since I was a small child. My parents showed me the original trilogy when I was very young. And it made a huge impact on me. It really was actually how I found my first best friend in like elementary school. I had like mentioned watching Star Wars at the lunch table, and none of the other girls knew what I was talking about or were interested. And then like the next day, one of the girls that had been part of that conversation had like stuck a little Yoda action figure in my desk that was like, "Sleepover, would you like to come to? Friends should we be?" And my answer was yes, and then we became very good friends through our mutual love of Star Wars. We were sort of in the sort of dry spell for Star Wars fans, I guess, because, I was coming of age in, like, the mid-90s. So, of course, the prequel started coming out in 99. Obviously, the original trilogy, finished up in the 80s. I didn't have a lot of content. One of my favorite things that did come out during that time period was Shadows of the Empire, which was a 64 game where you played. It was sort of a first-person shooter, and you played as Dash Rendar, who was like this mercenary, sort of a similar, like a little bit of a scruffy-looking nerf herder type of guy. And my friend and I, we would set up our Star Wars action figures in front of the game as we played it, and sort of interacted with it like the action figures were the crew monitoring Dash Rendar's mission and giving him advice and interacting with him through the screen. So for me, when the prequels came along, I saw them all in theaters. I was in like middle school. I thought they were great. And even now, like the new movies that have recently wrapped up, the new trilogy, I know, controversial to like them, but I feel like when it comes to Star Wars, and this is just me, I'm easy to please. There were lightsaber battles, there were pew-pews, there were some cool alien designs, there were big battles. They destroyed a Death Star of some sort. You gotta do that. Oh, it was a Star Killer base. It was a Death Star. Why does the Empire have like one plan? That's it. They got the one plan, and like, well, what about this time? Well, no, we're gonna do it again, guys, but this time it has trees. And before you get into any discourse as to why the prequels are bad actually, or the new movies are bad actually, I'm just gonna make it very clear where my taste level stands. I liked Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Indiana Jones. Like I enjoyed that. I am an impenetrable wall of questionable taste. Like, Indiana Jones was there. He lost his hat, and then he found it. My needs were met. My boxes were checked. I have no interest in your arguments as to why I shouldn't enjoy something that I enjoyed, alright? I will enjoy what I like when I like it. Whatever I like. If you don't like a cocktail, don't drink it. If you don't like a movie, don't watch it. There you go. Keep your discourse to yourself. Right, Grogu? I wouldn't have said it in quite that way. I think that's a little harsh, but I do agree with your main point. Now, all that being said, my heart definitely lies most strongest with the original trilogy. It's just, just the opening credits alone bring me to tears. And within the original trilogy, of course, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, not a controversial opinion here, but my personal favorite is Empire. Why specifically do I love Empire the most out of the entire lore of the Star Wars universe? Well, I mean, I think in a lot of ways it makes sense that it's such a popular favorite, because I think it doesn't have to do some of the hard stuff that trilogies usually have to do, right? Like, the first movie has to set up the world. It's got to do all that world building. It's got to make you care about the characters. It's got to endear you. It's got to introduce you to the way that everything works in this universe. And then the final part of a trilogy, it has to deliver a satisfying wrap-up of every storyline you've introduced. It's got to, leave you with something that makes you feel like it was worth your entire investment into the franchise. The middle movie doesn't have to do any of that. It's got its pre-established world. It doesn't have to deal with endings. The middle movie in the franchise is just sort of the run around in the world and cause chaos film, which I think Empire very much does. To me, it's funny when some of the new movies get the judgment like, oh, well, they didn't have enough of a central plot. It's like, have you watched Empire? Tell me there's a plot, but tell me the point of Empire. It is just a series of side quests. It is a series of, like, there's the whole situation on Hoth. Okay, now Luke's going off to Dagobah. Now there's Cloud City. I mean, it's introduction of all these cool places, all these hijinks, shenanigans, high-stakes situations. It's a fun movie to watch, and it is constantly introducing new challenges to our heroes. But there's no, like, there's not a Death Star to blow up. It's the one movie in the original trilogy. There's not here's the big ball in the sky, big danger orb, we gotta explode. No danger orb, just shenanigan. I also think it's the movie that, one thing that George Lucas very obviously does in his writings is basically tell us the traditional, like, hero's journey just in outer space. That's what the movies are doing. That's the pattern they follow. And with that, and each movie has a beginning, middle, and end that kind of follows that. But the trilogy as a whole has that pattern. And so Empire is that middle point of a hero's journey. It's that dark night of the soul. It's that, that character death that has to happen so you can be reborn. It's that, like, everybody loses something significant in Empire, but they also gain knowledge from that, Luke both learns who his father is and fully understands his path, but he also is defeated. He loses his hand. He has to confront this horrible truth about himself. The whole movie has the back and forth between Leia and Han, sort of finally coming to terms with their feelings, and then when they do, of course, Han is then frozen in carbonite, and Leia is left with the tattered remains of a resistance, and also, having to move forward with that. I think it's also the angstiest movie of the trilogy. I mean, let's be honest, it's the chaotic, angsty middle child of a film. Of course I'm gonna dig it. Another reason that I love Empire is it just has a lot of really good Han Solo content. He's my favorite guy. He's my favorite character in all of Star Wars. There's a lot of characters that I love, but Han Solo is always my favorite. And this is why. The reason I love Han Solo more than any other character in Star Wars is that, in a universe where so much is decided by destiny and lineage and bloodlines and royalty, every other character has these burdens that are placed upon them at a cosmic scale. Han Solo has none of that. Han Solo is just a guy. He's just a dude. He just wants to, drive around in his space truck with his furry buddy and, like, just stay alive. And yet he gets roped into these ridiculous scenarios. And while everybody else, Leia has her royal lineage, Luke has this whole Jedi path laid out for him, have these big, powerful, controlling reasons why they have to stay their path, Han keeps being on the side of good just because he kind of goes like, shit, I should probably help that person. I guess I should do this. He has so many options and every right to just up and leave, and he tries several times, but he never successfully does, because he's just a good dude who's trying to do a good thing. Flawed, imperfect, a scoundrel, if you will, but a good guy. Han's not a chosen one. He's actively choosing his path and being a hero in the process. That's why he's my favorite. I too have a best friend who is covered in fur and communicates exclusively via screams. You know, you can hate on the new movies as much as you want, but they did deliver the one thing that Harrison Ford wanted for his character from the very beginning. I think they kill him off. That's it. That's what he wanted. He wanted Han Solo to die the whole time. I love that. So for you, cocktail-wise, I'm going to make for you 3 drinks all inspired by The Empire Strikes Back. That's right. I know that feels very, like, focused. It's excluding a lot of the property, but I don't know. I mean, I hope I'm here next year to do this again, so maybe we just come back and do it again. That sounded kind of ominous. I mean, I hope I'm doing this series still next year, not like I hope I'm here. Who knows, right? These days. Who needs a drink? First off, I am going to make you a drink that I call the Hoth Chocolate. This is basically my idea for a vegan alternative, if you will, to cutting open a tauntaun and crawling inside if you're suffering the effects of hypothermia. I'm going to make you a drink that requires no tauntaun death, that is going to be warming and sweet and spicy. I'm going to stir this, but I'm going to start out with a couple dashes of orange bitters and a little teeny dash of some sea salt. My next ingredient, my base spirit, is this ominous, unlabeled jar of booze. This is a rye whiskey that I have infused with red chili peppers, cinnamon, and black peppercorns. So it's sort of similar to Fireball, the difference being you get a little bit more heat from the chili peppers, and also it's not sweetened. Fireball is a little lower proof, and it has some sugar added to it. The recipe, of course, will be down below. If you don't want to go to the trouble of making this, you can use just regular rye whiskey, or if you want, you can use Fireball. Just know that it's going to add a little extra sweetness that you're going to have to compensate for with the other ingredients. Alright, I'm making a pretty big drink, so I'm going to do 2 ounces of this. Next up, to fight the cold, frozen wastelands of Hoth, we got our spice, we're going to get some coffee as well. This is a cold brew concentrate. This is the Grady's brand. Usually when you make cold brew, you probably know this if you make it at home, you make it in like a 2-to-1 ratio, so you reduce it by 1 to get the proper strength. And then a lot of brands will sell it that way in the store. You could also use espresso here. You could use your house-made concentrate. You just want to make sure that you have a concentrated coffee, not regular dilution coffee. So I'm going to use 2 ounces of this. Alright, now to bring in that chocolate part, I'm going to do 3/4 ounce of creme de cacao. This is white creme de cacao. If you have dark creme de cacao, that's fine too. Just something chocolatey. Chocolate booze, whatever you got. And I'm also going to use a little bit of coffee liqueur as well. Just want a little bit extra coffee flavor in there. I'm going to use 3/4 ounces of, this is actually a locally made coffee liqueur, this brown coffee liqueur. But if you've got Kahlua, that's fine too. And then last, I'm going to put in 1.5 ounces of heavy cream. I'm using coconut cream. You can use whatever cream, nut milk, other milk, something creamy. I'm going to ice this up and I'm going to stir it. Since this is our vegan alternative to murdering a tauntaun, I'm going to put this inside of my Geeky Tiki tauntaun mug. Look at that. It makes me sad that it's kind of gritting its teeth. It looks cold. You didn't make it past the first marker, did you, bud? I'm sorry. And then to garnish, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of, I have a mixture of just a little bit more sea salt, some grated white chocolate, and a little bit of powdered sugar on top there. Let's get a little bit of snow. And lastly, just to get us a little bit of some orange oils, I'm going to use an orange peel. Alright, there you go. There is our Hoth Chocolate. Whew! It's good. It's good, and it's got a good amount of heat, honestly. The main source of the heat is just those red chili peppers that I put in my whiskey. I did 3 to about 8 ounces. It definitely depends on your personal ability to take spice, how many dried chilies you should infuse into your whiskey. There we have it. There's our Hoth Chocolate. If you or your little buddy get stranded in the wastelands of a frozen ice planet, just have a little bit of this on you, and maybe you can help him out. Just like have a little barrel of it around your neck, like a rescue Saint Bernard. You imagine Han Solo, like, don't worry, buddy, I got you. Gragu, here, just take care of this for me. I can't finish it. I got 2 more drinks to make. Is that okay? Alright, cool. But only a little bit, alright? I know you're like, you're old enough to drink in my years, but I don't know what that means in Baby Yoda years. If you say so. Okay, don't trust me with your children. Alright, so our next drink, moving forward chronologically in the movie, is going to pay homage to the Dagobah system. This is something I'm going to call the Dagobah Daiquiri, and this is inspired both by the landscape of Dagobah, where of course Luke goes to train with Master Yoda. I don't think there's a single scene in the entire output of Star Wars content that makes me happier than the scene where Luke first meets Yoda, and Yoda's just some like weird little guy that kind of freaks him out. Like, I like the idea that this is the first test to being a Jedi Master. How do you react to a weird little dude? You annoyed but kind of cool with it? Alright, moving along. But the Dagobah system, sort of a marsh, sort of a swamp, a bayou. You do enough handstands there and you're Jedi Master, best I can tell. Alright, so this drink is for after you're done with your training for the day. You want to kick back. You want a little bit of a boat drink for the Dagobah system. We're gonna get into our Dagobah Daiquiri. This is gonna be shaken, as most daiquiris are. We're gonna start with a little bit of basil. Just some fresh basil here. I'm just gonna rip the leaves and smack them. You can muddle them down if you want to, but I'm just going to give this a good hard shake. It's going to work out about the same. Alright, and then for our sweets, I'm going to do half an ounce of, this is just a Demerara syrup that I've infused with a few cloves. And then I'm also going to use some Banana de Brazil, which is a banana liqueur. And of course, some citrus. I'm going to do a full ounce of lime, I think. There's a lot of sweet going on. An ounce of a good aged rum. I've got some Zacapa here. And an ounce of some overproof Jamaican rum. This is sort of what I'm building the flavor profile around. A lot of Jamaican rum, and definitely this one specifically, has like a nice estery, like banana funky flavor to it. So everything that we've got going on around it is going to kind of marry into that. Just an ounce of this. This is strong stuff. And the next ingredient, the final ingredient, it is, you can leave it out if you want to. It is optional. But I think it's both going to give us a little bit of an earthiness and also a little bit of like a murky, swampy sort of look to our drink. And that's going to be just a little touch of some turmeric. Tiniest pinch right in top there. Gonna have yellow digits for a week. Didn't think about that, just did it. It's fine. Alright, let's shake it up. Alright, we're gonna strain it up into a little Nick and Nora I got here. And I'm gonna garnish it with a little, let's see if we can find a nice, attractive piece of basil here. Alright, there you go. There's our Dagobah Daiquiri. Yeah, that's nice. It's fruity, it's sweet, it's got a nice amount of earthiness though from just that tiny pinch of turmeric. The basil's coming through nicely. Like I said, you don't have to muddle it, you just give it a good hard shake and you'll be fine. Cheers, cheers. Alright, I'm gonna give this to my secondary judge. What do you think of this? That first drink too strong? Oh. Okay. Our third and final drink for this menu is going to be inspired by the iconic moment in Empire Strikes Back where Leia finally confesses to Han her love for him. She says, "I love you," and he says, "I know," right before he is frozen in carbonate. This drink, the "I love you, I know" is what we're calling it. And because of the call and response, it makes sense to be like a drink with a chaser. But I do think because we've got a princess involved, it should be a little bit more elevated than like a beer and a shot. So when I think of cocktails that are like drink and chaser, the only one that really comes to mind is a porn star martini. I actually love a porn star martini. It's a combination of passion fruit and vanilla that's really nice. So I want to play off those ideas. And then traditionally it comes with a back of champagne. So that's going to be our build. We're just going to have some fun in that format. So to start, this is going to be shaken. All right, I'm going to start with some bitters. These are my Bitterman's Burlesque bitters. If you've watched my videos enough or heard me talk enough, you know this is one of my favorites. It's hibiscus and long pepper, so it's got floral and spice notes. If you don't have these and you want to make this drink, that's totally fine. I think Peychaud's is probably the best sub in. You want something nice and dry and fruity. If not that, you could do some orange bitters. That would probably work in this drink. Alright, for our sweet, we're going to start with just classic passion fruit liqueur. I've got the Giffard brand. This is great. It's affordable. I'm just going to use a half an ounce of this. So for our vanilla aspect, I'm actually going to use some ube syrup. Ube is a tuber originated in Southeast Asia. It's used in a lot of cuisine there. It has this beautiful deep purple color and a flavor that is very vanilla and nutty. So I think that's going to marry really well with our passion fruit. And it's also going to give us a really nice dark purple quality for our drink. I want this to sort of have a night sky color to it, which I'm going to add to with another ingredient. But first we're going to do a half ounce of this. And this is just a 1-to-1 white sugar simple syrup that I then added like 5-6 drops of ube extract to. It's pretty powerful stuff. So for our base spirit, instead of vodka, I'm actually going to use some cognac. Once again, this is for royalty. I want it to be proper, but also I think with the little additional like depth and nuttiness that we're going to get from that ube, I think cognac's going to stand up really nicely. So we're going to use 2 ounces of this. And then of course for our citrus, we're going to use 3/4 ounce of lemon. Now, just to give us a little bit more of that night sky feel, I've got some black luster dust here. So it's super dark. Luster dust, if you haven't worked with it before, it doesn't add any flavor to your drink. It just generally adds glitter and coloring. We're going to get like a nice deep, rich, like velvety visual from this. So we're hopefully going to get that deep night sky. Alright, we're going to shake it up. Smells so good. Alright, so for our I love you, here we have our boozy and nuanced. Oh, look at that color! That is gorgeous. It is so deep and inky and glittery. It's nice. That's really nice. But of course, it won't be a 2-part cocktail without the follow-up. I've got some sparkling rosé here to finish it out, the combo. So here is our I love you, I know. And for garnish, I've just got a little bit of a lemon twist for both of these. But if you put them together, they make a little heart. Ah! Do you want to try it? Yeah? You want to get in here? You want to try a little bit of this? I thought so. Alright, well there you go. There is a trilogy of drinks inspired by a trilogy of movies that's part of a trilogy, a broader trilogy. There's a lot of 3s here. That's good. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you're having an excellent May the 4th. I hope you are watching your favorite movies in the Star Wars franchise. You don't have to watch the ones you don't like, just watch the ones you do. Oh my god, it's so easy. If you want to make these drinks, the recipes will be down below. If you like what you saw here and you wish you saw more of it, you want to see more of me, an old, very old nerd making drinks in cosplay, well, you can help me do that by either, there are really 2 options there. You can support this channel. You can like and subscribe. That's awesome. That's great. You can also support us on our Patreon. Neat the Boozecast is my alcohol-themed podcast. If you're curious about alcohol history, you should check that out. And you can join our Patreon, where you get exclusive videos, you get content, you get coasters, you get stickers, all sorts of cool stuff. Check that out if that interests you. Thank you all for being here. I have been your host, Han Solo, aka Taylor Smurl. This has been Cocktails and Cosplay, and we will see you again, hopefully soon. We'll see. I don't know. Who knows? What do you think? You like it? Is it good?